Hey everybody, I decided to do a video on Masamune to maybe help out the clanmates that just recently got Masamune or haven't been scoring quite as much or might be getting frustrated with how it's going. So I thought there's some things to speak about that might be able to help them. So to start off, Masamune obviously has the melee with a sword, hugely overpowered weapon, and until they nerf it, I'm going to use the hell out of it. So, my philosophy with Masamune is because you got to get close, you better be fast. You got to get up close to him. So with that, I'll set all my boosters up for speed, and any booster that takes away speed, I remove. So you're going to want to level those suckers up. As far as power-ups go, I use teleport, mobile shield, and health, and managing those can be pivotal to your success, because if you die, obviously you got to spend all that time getting back into the fight, and a lot of you might just have gotten your first Masamune. So if Masamune dies, now you're back to your Alden, your Rex, your Reaper, or whatever, and you're not going to be scoring quite as many points quite as fast, and to acquire gold, you're going to need kills. So using those power-ups, those power-ups are probably the most important thing, managing that. And also the other portion is dealing with the mechs that you go up against that have the smash feature. The smash feature is when they lift off the ground, and anybody in a radius of like probably 20 meters, 40 meters takes a huge damage hit when they hit their smash special move, and those are Curious, Rusty, and Rex. And so in order to mitigate that risk, you have to be off the ground. If you're off the ground, you don't take any damage. And that gets me to point number one, really, which is manage your fuel capacity. The lift, I will call it the lift, the two arrows that take you off the ground. That button, managing that is probably the most important thing you can do. So being able to not get hit by them, you get in a big battle, you're going to have trouble if you're on the ground. So the other things are like the Seeker and the Crusher. They've got the jump special move. Make sure that you don't shoot at them until you're close, because if you do, they'll come off the ground. You got to wait for them to come back down, and you can lift off about midway when they're on the way back down, and then hit your sword and slice them. But you've wasted a bunch of time, so it's good to sneak up on those guys rather than to tap them, unless somebody's already tapping them or you're really far away. That might be useful, so. And then the other benefits of Masamune is he has the Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud's super handy. It makes it so that anybody can't lock on you while you're in the cloud. They're in the cloud, or you're in the cloud with them. No guns can lock on unless they're outside of the cloud. So some things to know about that is you're still locked on with the sword, which is cool. So if you're in the cloud, you can still use the sword, and they're having a hard time shooting you. Now with Mech Wars, you can take damage no matter what. So if you're locked or not locked, if you get hit by a round, a bullet, or whatever it is, shotgun blast, you're still going to take damage. So if you've got your gun aimed at somebody in the Dark Cloud and they're not locked on, you can still mess them up. So I still take shots in the Dark Cloud frequently, and I land a lot of them. When Masamune's not locked on with his Nemesis and his Breakers, they shoot down towards the knees, so you want to make sure you're above your enemy and close, and back a little bit. So if I've sliced Knight and I'm on the cooldown, I'll actually back up a little bit from him in the cloud and give him a quick blast, and then I'll hit the slice again, and that usually finishes him off. So the other super important things are knowing about your lock. Once you're locked into an enemy, Masamune will orient himself to that enemy. Even if your back is to them, when you're off the air and you hit the sword, you're going to flip around and still get them, or even be oriented in that way. Conversely, it can be a pain, because when you're in the air and you accidentally lock into somebody 300 meters away and you hit your sword, your melee, you're going to try and slice them, and you look like an idiot in the air. Ask me how I know. It's twice a match. And then the guns. The guns are super important. This really helped me score a lot, was to go from using OCXs or the zappers or whatever, I can't think of the name of the zapping one, the electricity gun, but getting rid of those was a tough transition for me. But then by putting 2 breakers and a nemesis on, or a breaker and nemesis. I'm sorry, yeah, you can only have 1 breaker. 1 breaker, 1 nemesis makes a huge difference because there's a cooldown between your sword slices. So if you can get a pop off or a pop in before you get to the robot, to the enemy, your slice will take them down completely. So like slice, pop, boom. So some of the mechs, I can't remember the name of the little guy. Rust, maybe. He's a short little guy. Has some heavy weapons, but he'll take a slice and a shot. And so if you can shoot him beforehand and then slice, great. Or if you slice and then shoot, then great. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the... So getting into the game with J-Bear and Red Dog. Starting out on the snow map. You can see I hate to not score, so I rock 3 Masamunes. But nowadays I've been getting better that I don't need them all in most matches. So coming in here, so there's your first blast. That's your Rusty. They're a serious pain in the ass. So what I want you to watch here, the most important thing you can get from this video probably, is watch me manage the lift and the fuel capacity. So Rex is a smasher, so I'm going to stay in the air when I blast him. And you can see, even though I wasn't using the lift and consuming fuel, you can still kind of warp up to your enemy using as long as you're in the air, using the melee. So it's so powerful. So here I'm just trying to preserve. Once you're in the air, I get off the lift usually. I don't need it, and so I'm just preserving that fuel capacity. Let's see here. And using your guns, super helpful. You wear them down over time, and you get there. It might be a 1 slicer now. The lock, we were talking about lock earlier, is so important. Once you know you've got a lock on something, as long as you don't lock onto anything else, you will just kind of warp right into them as long as you hit melee and if you're in the air. If you're on the ground, you'll still try to, but you won't fly to them. And if you don't fly to them, you're going to end up just kind of sitting on the ground looking like a jackass. And that's no good. So, and then here's the, you can see the Seekers and the Crushers. They jump as soon as they know they're being engaged. So I'll try to run at them diagonally, and for some reason that makes them not want to jump, or makes it really hard for them to shoot you. So there's a pro tip for you. There's a Seeker. I had to come back out to reacquire. Now you could technically go in and you could try to slice in the dark, but you'd be surprised. I mean, you can connect, but it's difficult to do. And if there's nobody around that you're competing for the kill with, I just come out in the circle and just reacquire real quick. So it's all about utilizing the downtime, making sure you're scoring as much at any given moment. So I'm always trying to get a round off, trying to get to the next opponent as quickly as possible, managing those boosters. Those power-ups. Super important. So on big guys, you can actually, you'll lift off the ground and you start slicing. You can let off the lift, preserve that fuel capacity. You can ride them down a couple times before your feet touch the ground. You can continue to melee. Once your feet touch the ground, you can come off the ground for a second, for a moment, just like tap it, slice, and untap the lift to reacquire. So I'm always blasting when I'm slicing. And one thing that you can do, and I haven't perfected yet, is that you can actually start shooting, and if you're holding down the fire button, you can actually lift off and slice at the same time, and you'll continue shooting while you're slicing. Now, it can be effective, but I've tried it, and with like crazy, holding my hands all crazy and whatnot, but I haven't found it effective, really. I find that it's very difficult to pull that off, and it actually hasn't really improved my game. I just found that my guns were overheated when I actually did need them to finish off the enemy. You know, and that's what it's all about, is to make quick work of your opponent, and to get scoring on the next opponent. So yeah, so really my analysis is probably stupid, and I probably don't know how to put it into words what I do, but hopefully you can watch that video. It's all about working the lift, not getting caught flat-footed, being on the ground, you know, not doing anything stupid to leave you exposed to getting rocked. So if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And hi, Bella.